The following presentation is controversial and may be offensive to some audiences. Viewer discretion is advised.
We all know a crisis is coming. What's going to happen when disaster strikes? Are you prepared to feed your family? I don't know about you, but I'm sure not counting on the government to help me. In fact, they may be behind disappearing food stockpiles all over the country. And I've got the proof. Not too long ago, FEMA went directly to my supplier and tried to buy my entire stockpile of high-quality survival food. It sounds crazy, but I'll show you the exact letter they sent in a minute. Revealing FEMA's plight could land me in hot water, but I think you deserve to know exactly what they're doing. Sounds fair, right? I'm about to show you undeniable proof that FEMA is on the hunt for as much survival food as they can grab in 24 hours, and I gotta tell you, it's really disturbing. Now, you can imagine that they're willing to pay a pretty penny, the kind of money small businesses dream about in an economy like this. Money that would probably come with a nice fat government contract. The fact is, they must know something we don't. My first thought was that they must be trying to control the supply. Control the food supply and you control the people. I mean, it worked for Stalin and Mao, right? Well, why not Obama? But then I dug deeper, and I think the situation is even worse. I think that FEMA knows something we don't and is worried that they see a full-scale disaster about to hit. And I think I found the factors that will trigger it. Now, before I talk about these warning signs, you need to see the actual letter FEMA sent my supplier so you can see the proof with your own eyes and make up your own mind. It's been all over the internet, Facebook, and even some big radio programs like Alex Jones picked up this story. It seems like everyone is just plain shocked that FEMA would send a letter like this. Here's what happened. FEMA wrote to my partner Matt over at the warehouse and wanted to know exactly how many. Well, maybe I should just let Matt show you the proof since he was the one who received the letter.
Thanks, Frank. Well, it was kind of crazy to get a letter from FEMA. I don't mean to sound paranoid, but FEMA is asking some questions that make me pretty nervous. Just look at the actual letter. The FEMA Department of Homeland Security demanded to know how much emergency food we can deliver immediately, how many food kits we've got on hand. Remember, with the government's power to seize supplies in a, quote, state of emergency, I don't think I want to answer this. If we can ship dedicated truckloads, that means a truck heading straight for FEMA with nothing but survival food just for them, by the pallet, and how many pallets we could cram in each truck. And the strangest question of all, if we worked like madmen, how much emergency food could we produce in 24 hours? I gotta tell you, Frank, I'm real concerned. This letter is proof that FEMA wants our emergency survival food. They don't want anyone to know it, and they want to take immediate delivery. And let's not forget the most important part of this. Why the sudden urgency? What do they know that we don't?
I hear you, Matt. From the sounds of it, something big is about to happen, and it's no wonder that our food is literally flying off the shelves. It makes sense, doesn't it? This is truly an urgent situation. But don't worry, you should know that FEMA and Homeland Security won't get one single emergency food kit from us. Why? Because we don't believe that these critical emergency food kits should be in the hands of the government, stored in some secret warehouse while the rest of us are left with table scraps in a crisis. Because we understand that without this food, many patriots will be downright helpless in a disaster, because our goal is to get this life-saving food into the hands of people like you and me as quick as possible. Sounds good, right? But with FEMA competing for the exact meals you are, there's no time to waste, and here's why. Like my buddy Matt told me, even though we decided not to sell to FEMA, it's only a matter of time before they find some other company who will. And when they do, it will almost certainly create a shortage of the raw ingredients that we use for our kits, especially because we refuse to replace our high-quality made-in-America food ingredients with foreign stuff, raising prices and making survival food completely unavailable at any price. But that's not the only danger that could snatch your food stockpile out of your hands. Heck, we've had a rush of people taking advantage of our special fire sale offer to grab their food kits to protect their family. Now, to be blunt, this is a first-come, first-served opportunity, and because of all the controversy, I cannot guarantee supply forever, which means if we run out before you have a chance to claim your kit, I'm sorry, but you'll just have to wait and hope we can get more in before something really bad hits. Over the last few weeks, My warehouse has been shipping out more truckloads of food packed to the brim than I've ever seen, which is great if you've already put your order in. But the bad news is, if you're just hearing about these food kits for the first time, then you're already behind the 8 ball and need to act fast before they're all gone. Fortunately, as soon as FEMA said they wanted to take all my food, I put in an extra large order for more food in anticipation of whatever the government is so urgently preparing for. Our production machines are working around the clock right now to meet the increased demand. So depending on how much food you need, you can get my Food for Patriot kits for as low as $1.11 per serving. And we're doing everything we can to accelerate packing and shipping so we can rush your kit to you as soon as you order it. I'm going to keep doing this as long as I can. I hope we can help patriots all across the United States feel protected in case of disaster for years to come. But here's why this fire sale could end in a matter of days. First, Mac could run out of the raw ingredients needed to get these kits produced. I'd be shocked if FEMA stopped looking for suppliers just because we turned them down. And there are companies a whole lot bigger than us that can buy up all the ingredients. Second, and I hope the government never gets to this point, part of me thinks that FEMA might have wanted to know how much food we've got in stock in case they ever decided to take it. The fact is they could walk in and seize every single kit of food we've got in our warehouse at the drop of a hat. All it would take is President Obama declaring a state of emergency. The actual term for this legal confiscation is the National Defense Resources Preparedness Act. All he needs is his phone and his pen, and food confiscation could begin tomorrow. But the real thing that keeps me up most nights, it's the way FEMA wanted to know how many meals we could ship out in 24 hours. It makes me think they know something that we don't, and that it could happen soon. That brings us to the third reason this offer could grind to a halt. I can't tell the future, but from everything I've seen, the U.S. could be on the brink of a major disaster. If I'm wrong, life will go on like normal, and I'll happily admit that I was off my rocker. But if I'm right, this could force our friends and neighbors into FEMA camps, and you probably already know a FEMA camp isn't anywhere you want you or your family to end up. They make an old-style Soviet gulag sound like a day at the beach. You think I'm kidding? Just imagine the bleak living conditions folks had to endure in one of those godforsaken places after Hurricane Katrina and Superstorm Sandy. Things like bitter cold or blistering heat from living in a tent with no insulation. Inadequate food. Just think about those New Yorkers dumpster diving for food after Superstorm Sandy, rifling through disgusting trash, scraping off bugs and dirt, just to find anything remotely edible, and that was only 3 days after the storm. Crime, from robbery to assault to rape and worse. Remember those first few days post-Katrina? Even the police were afraid to be out on the street. The feds refusing to let folks return to their homes or even leave, and FEMA agents in your personal business watching every move. It would feel like you're in prison just for the crime of being unprepared. The media will be turned away, forbidden from filming inside the camps, and if you tried to show the world a glimpse of the hell you were living through inside, they'll outright just take your phone or other mobile devices. No warning, questions, or giving back your confiscated property. And the list goes on. You want to avoid that kind of nightmare, right? Of course you do. Now let's talk about some basic facts. Just like governments have understood for centuries, if you control the food supply, you control the people. After all, there's no way to live without food and water, which is exactly why you need to have your own personal food stockpile. But here's the catch. If you stockpile the wrong foods, you could be setting your family up to starve. It sounds harsh, but the truth is most people are giving themselves a false sense of security. Maybe it's by buying terrible tasting MREs. Depending on where you buy them from, they could be nearly expired. Or disgusting so-called survival foods that are packed with cheap fillers and high in salt, MSG, and preservatives. You remember that guy that ate nothing but McDonald's every meal for a month straight? He started off healthy, and by the time it was over, he was nearly ready to keel over. The bottom line is if you make any of the 1,000,001 mistakes while you're designing your food stockpile, Your family won't just pay for it with unhealthy eating, it can cripple their hope. Imagine you've got an entire stockpile of food you think will feed your family just fine in a crisis. How would you feel to find it crawling with maggots, roaches, and rats when you need it? Or that your canned goods are expired and infected with deadly bacteria like botulism? Your survival plan would be ruined, and you'd have to tell your starving family, there's nothing to eat. That would feel pretty awful, wouldn't it? By then, your only choice would be starvation or a dreaded government-run FEMA camp. And like Ronald Reagan once said, the 10 most terrifying words you'll ever hear are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help you. And there's something else to consider. Under Obama, the number of Americans on the government dole has increased from around a little over 27 million in 2008 to 47 million today. That's just about 15% of the whole damn country. They don't call him the food stamp president for nothing. Now, of course, you and I were raised to help others in need. The difference was people had pride back then. They wanted gainful employment, the ability to go to work each day and make enough to feed and clothe their families and put a roof over their head. Nowadays, it's an entirely different story. We've all heard of the greatest generation. This was my dad and his buddies, the baby boomers, Generation X, but now we have to contend with generation entitlement. And folks, it really doesn't have much to do with age. It's a mindset. It's the belief that the country owes you a living for just existing and breathing air. Just like that surfer that made the news in California, living it up on your taxpayer dime, buying lobster with his food stamp card, and even proud of the fact he's a good-for-nothing bum. He'd much rather play rock star and get a job and earn a respectable living like other hard-working Americans. It's losers like him that really get my blood boiling. These are the kind of people that my grandpa used to say, always want something for nothing. And our socialist in chief and his minions are all too happy to provide it because it keeps them and their kind in power election after election. Which brings me to my next point. What do you think's going to happen when the real crap hits the industrial-sized fan and 47 million people, or 1/6 of the population, can't get their handouts? If a disaster hits and FEMA completely drops the ball, as usual, it could spark riots and looting just like Katrina, except this time on an explosive, massive scale. It can be a crisis from crazy weather that produces monster storms, a terrorist attack on our Kremlin power grid, another outbreak of Ebola, this time causing a nationwide pandemic. Remember that even healthcare workers in hazmat suits got infected, folks. Or any other kind of hellish scenario. There's no way to tell when it will hit, but it is coming. Heck, we've already seen a record amount of violence and looting this year, and we aren't even in a full-on crisis yet. Which is why I want you to really think about this. You think about the disaster footage you're seeing on the news these days, pretty much 24/7. How long before the disaster is at your front door? Hordes of desperate people roaming the streets of your town, grocery stores picked over and shelves stripped bare. You get the picture? Because this is the reality we're looking at when the next big crisis happens. At no time in history have we had so many people as dependent on government as we do today. It's a ticking time bomb, 47 million people strong. Do I really have your attention now? It's painfully obvious you've got to act, and fast, if you're going to protect your loved ones from toxic hunger and food riots and a full-blown crisis that lasts days, weeks, or even longer. I've made it my personal mission to help as many true American patriots become as food independent as possible, so you never have to be at the mercy of some federal bureaucrat, standing in line to beg for whatever rations the Obama regime seems fit to dole out. So this is what we did. My partner Matt and I put together our own survival food kit containing only cream-of-the-crop food. I wanted only the absolute best-tasting meals that provided the most nutrition for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and that were useful for the long haul. That means they had to be conveniently packed in airtight containers that would be easy to conceal, move, and store for more than just a couple of years. I'm talking decades, folks. After months of work and research, we finally cooked up our first batch, and I knew we had something nobody else did. American-made food that I'd be happy to feed my own kids and grandkids. The food was delicious, easy to store long term, and best of all, it was packaged right here in the US of A. That's when we decided to call it Food for Patriots. Plus, it didn't have any of those harmful chemicals or genetically modified ingredients, no MSG, and no mystery Frankenfood. But to be honest, we were worried that this was just too good to be true. After putting it all together, I had to give myself a reality check. This was amazing, but was it going to cost an arm and a leg? The short answer was no. I'll explain why in just a minute. The answer's so simple, you won't believe it. The survival food we made for you doesn't cut any corners. You'll understand what I mean when you see exactly how your meals are made. First, we take 100% non-GMO fruits and veggies as a starting point. Our food is made in America, not assembled from Chinese imported ingredients. Grown, harvested, and made here in the land of the free and the home of the brave. Next, we combine these top-quality ingredients using prize-winning recipes. In fact, many of the recipes we use have won independent taste tests. To keep our meals as fresh as the day we package them, we seal them up in convenient airtight pouches that make it easy for you to prepare. And here's another of the big things my buddy Matt does differently. Some manufacturers freeze-dry their food, which is hideously expensive for you, while other manufacturers use the cheaper, rapid dehydration method that sucks out all the water but also pulls out nutrients and flavor with it. Our meals are made with our unique low-heat dehydration method, so the flavor and nutrition stays locked in and it lasts every bit as long as freeze-dried without costing you a fortune. Can you see now why our food has been called the stockpiler's dream? But there's one more critical step before your food is finished. It takes a $150,000 machine to package these meals to the highest industry standards. It works like this. Space-age Mylar pouches are blasted clean with CO2 gas, and then the container is packed to the brim with a hefty helping of your delicious food. This gets any leftover oxygen out so food won't spoil, and in fact is guaranteed for an amazing 25 years of shelf life. That's right, 25 years. In fact, let's take a quick look at this video that shows you exactly how we package our food to keep it fresh for up to 25 years.
The bags themselves are very important. The bag structure especially, meaning that we use it as an oxygen barrier to protect the product from oxygen on the outside of the bag. We spend time researching and developing this type of bag so that it will protect, again, the product inside. So if you've got an emergency and you need to eat something, you want to be able to pull this off the shelf and say, I can count on this, I can eat it. I want it to taste good, I want it to be good, and those are qualities we try to build into every pouch.
And it's not just the packaging. We go through a 17-step quality control and lab testing procedure for each and every batch of our survival food to ensure that the flavor, nutrition, and storage life meet our highest standards. You see how much better that is for you and your family? But don't take my word for it. Coast to coast, people are telling me they love Food for Patriots' superior taste and convenience. See how Chloe, one of our happy customers, was convinced she made the right choice as soon as she took her first bite. She said, and I quote, "Doesn't taste like survival food. Wow, we tried the cheesy rice as a taste test and we were blown away by its deliciousness." Most folks who've gotten a Food for Patriots kit have been ecstatic with the long-term packaging, taste, and how easy it is to store. Here's Wanda, a lifelong Girl Scout who's always been preparing for emergencies. Listen to why she chose Food for Patriots as her best option for long-term food security.
I was always stockpiling food for emergencies and other items as well. I've thrown away so much food just because it's expired and I haven't been able to get to it. When this came along, I thought, 25-year lifespan? Wow!
Especially now that FEMA's come knocking, I'm on a mission to get as many life-saving food kits to as many American families as possible. Sometimes I get a letter from a customer that reminds me just how critical this is. Donna told me about the agony of losing everything and how having a Food for Patriots stockpile now gives her the priceless peace of mind she needs to cope. Here she is in her own words.
Just 2 weeks ago, my husband, myself, and our son, living here in Paris, California, where Southern California Edison blew 2 transformers that were faulty, and we were without power for 2 days. Doesn't sound like much. Well, within 2 days, our entire freezer, which we had just filled, we still had receipts from the grocery store, was spoiled and rotten. No way to cook our food, and only had canned beans as backup. We are in a terrible bind. My husband has cancer. We have used all of our savings in retirement. We are 64 years old, caring for our mentally ill son, and we are in the middle of bankruptcy. Now, if you don't think this can happen to you, you are wrong. We were sitting pretty 3 years ago, and now at the mercy of the government. We can't get help. No food stamps, no medical to help whatsoever. Yes, this can happen to ordinary people. This just took 2 days to wipe us out. So I want to say thank you for your help. You have to help yourself and be prepared. Thank you, Food for Patriots. Not sure what we would have done without you, but now feel a little better just knowing we can get through the next crisis.
I have to tell you, it's really hit me right in the gut. This is why we're doing this, folks. We're really making a difference in people's lives. Just to remind you, it's on a 100% first-come, first-served basis. We can't predict how long we'll be able to offer these survival food kits as low as $1.11 per serving. Look, I'd rather you get your own personal food stockpile than see Homeland Security hoard them. Since these are clearing out fast, I'll be ordering as many as I can. But if this new FEMA demand drains up all the raw ingredients, there may be no way of restocking indefinitely. Keep in mind we have over 106,321 customers who have already taken us up on the stockpiler's dream. So why is our food flying off the shelves? First, this is delicious food that you can prepare in 3 simple steps. You don't have to worry about cooking complex recipes when you're stuck in a disaster. You can make these meals in less than 20 minutes with no hassle. Just add your packet of food to boiling water. Simmer and serve. Can you picture how easy this is? It's so simple even kids can make them. And don't worry, you'll get a whole slew of choices for breakfast, lunch, and dinner so you don't get stuck eating the same thing day in and day out. One of the questions most people have is, what kind of food will I get to eat? I know what you're worried about, that we're talking about bland, tasteless mush, but that couldn't be further from the truth. I've picked some of my favorites to give you variety. Here's a list of just a few of the choices. Strawberry Fields Cream of Wheat, Maple Grove Oatmeal, Granny's Home-Style Potato Soup, Blue Ribbon Cheesy Rice. My kids actually beg me to make this one all the time. Heartland's Best Mashed Potatoes, Creamy Beef Stroganoff. Just to prove we're on the level about how great this food really tastes, we did a secret taste test with the good folks over at The Blaze, the world's most popular conservative news website. Take a look.
We're all ready to serve the entire Blaze staff a free lunch right here in the cantina.
And the big secret that we're serving them survival food.
Yep.
Smells good. Actually very good.
Yeah, I thought it was catering.
So this is what you'd be eating in the event of an emergency if, in fact, you had an emergency food supply.
All I have to do is boil water and put it in there and eat. I could do that.
Barely.
This is really good. It's very hearty. Really good.
It tastes great. You can store it for up to 25 years and get it ready almost like that.
Second, you get my guaranteed disaster-proof packaging. I may not have used showy packaging for expensive branding, but I did make sure it's military-grade, sturdy stuff and can stand up to the crazy things that happen in a crisis. This food has a shelf life of up to 25 years, so you have complete peace of mind for the long term. I've used Mylar pouches, the same material used in NASA's spacesuits. This means you'll keep all the air, moisture, and light out of the package. It'll also keep the food nutritionally sound and tasting great. So when you need your food stockpile, it'll be guaranteed to be as fresh as the day you bought it. Just imagine how valuable this will be for you when normal life becomes a thing of the past. Third, you get food jam-packed with nutritional value. Since I had a chance to go direct to the supplier to build this kit, I was able to throw out all the filler and poor quality ingredients other guys stuff into their meals. All the food you'll receive is at the peak of the long-term food reserve industry. Just listen to Lauren, one of our happy customers who loves the convenience. Easy storage, compact, easy to load and move in an emergency. Easy to prepare with minimum effort, and a complete meal with lots of calories. A good buy. But here's the other important part. You don't have to settle for smaller serving sizes for kids. Some people use kids' meals to skimp on the amount of food they give you. At Food for Patriots, kids get a full adult-sized portion without getting charged extra. And fourth, you get an easy-to-store package that takes up minimal space. Nobody wants to cram their house full of clunky food packages. So many food storage containers are ultra bulky and come in a slew of awkward shapes and sizes, which makes it difficult to discreetly store food reserves in the average American home. I've selected the most compact kits I could find so you can store them without any extra hassle. They're sturdy, waterproof, and stack easily. The sturdy totes your meals come in are also covert, so no one will know you have a secret stash of high-quality survival food except you. Since we both know a major food emergency could strike any time, these critical characteristics will give you instant peace of mind when your food package arrives. No more worrying about what you'd have to do or having to rely on the government. Heck, you'll have the exact same stuff they wanted to buy. Take a look at this checklist showing you exactly how Food for Patriots stacks up against other methods of stockpiling food. You'll see right away how there's no comparison. And it's not just our 106,321 customers who are praising Food for Patriots to the skies. Celebrities and survival experts are recommending the perfect survival food solution. Let's hear from none other than Glenn Beck, one of America's most popular television and talk radio personalities, on what he thinks about the survival food that's in these kits.
Patriot Pantry Meals. They make the cut because they're delicious, nutritious, and good for 25 years.
And here's survival expert Jeff Anderson from Modern Combat and Survival magazine. This guy really knows what he's talking about. See what Jeff likes most about Food for Patriots in his own words.
Hey everyone, it's Jeff Anderson from Modern Combat and Survival magazine. I want to share with you my favorite supply right now, and this comes from a friend of mine in the industry from Food for Patriots. And I want to show you why this really is your best source of long-term survival food storage. This has a 25-year shelf life. What I like about it is that it does come in a weather-resistant container, so it's plastic, it's going to withstand the elements pretty well. You'll see that they come in individual packets, and these really are balanced nutritionally for yourself and your family. The good thing is, it tastes great. So check it out, I know you're going to love it.
Customers and experts agree Food for Patriots really is the perfect survival food solution. The fact is, you get what you pay for, and you can't expect this kind of quality to come cheap. Now here's the problem. If you're like most people, you don't have that kind of cash lying around. But Matt and I found a way to make this work, and it's dead simple. We buy in bulk. Now just to give you some perspective, a bulk order costs tens of thousands of dollars and is a decade of food for my family of 4. My first thought was, we just don't need that much food. But I figured if I could get this video out to people like you, you'd want to grab the same discount I got and would claim your own food package. That way, I wouldn't be stuck with a big bill for more food than we could ever eat. But I got a confession to make about this delicious food. It won't always be this cheap. In fact, imagine what will happen when you see the headlines. Food prices skyrocketing, grain shortage forces farms to close, and cows starve. Since the Food for Patriots package is made from honest-to-goodness ingredients produced by farmers here in the U.S. of A., when a crisis hits, it'll automatically skyrocket the prices of this kit. Farms will shut down and their livestock will go hungry. Grain shortages will drive bread to $10, $25, even $100 per loaf. When a crisis hits, stores will be hit by angry urban swarms demanding food and other supplies. Just think, people stampede for toys on sale on Black Friday at Walmart. When they and their children are starving because they didn't prepare, riots and roving mobs are almost certain. Get the picture? Now, the last thing I want happening is someone to give up their chance to claim their Food for Patriots package because they couldn't afford it. Food stockpiles shouldn't only be for wealthy Americans. I know most people couldn't afford to spend $5,000, $10,000, or even $30,000 on a stockpile, which is why the biggest question a lot of people probably have right now is, how much does it cost? I feel like you can't put a price on food independence and the peace of mind that gives. Now, I know every family's different, and there's no one-size-fits-all survival food solution. So I put together different Food for Patriots kits based on servings to feed one adult. And you can customize your kit to keep your family healthy and happy for as low as $1.11 per serving. You can pick the exact food kits that will work for you and your family. No need to buy less or more than you will actually use, so nothing goes to waste. It's easy to see why we've shipped our food kits to over 106,321 American patriots just like yourself, and why the number continues to grow every day. It's because this is truly an exceptional value. Check out just a few of the over 800 verified 5-star Food for Patriots reviews we've gotten. Paula readily admits she's ecstatic with Food for Patriots. She exclaims, "Generous meal size, arrives in liftable tote boxes. I'm very happy with all of it. Thank you." Here's Rom's take on Food for Patriots and its quality, storage life, and the fact he can take it with him wherever he goes, and I quote, "Great products. I am very pleased with the deluxe Food for Patriots kit. It was put together with all the right things in mind." Food for Patriots is so good, Joe is even making it part of his regular meal plan. Joe talks about treating himself to a Food for Patriots gourmet meal anytime for a low cost and with a better variety of options he can find at his local grocery. He says, "The cost is great, storage is unlimited, and the selection is far beyond my grocery store runs. I add fresh greens, veggies, milk, and an occasional dash of spices and enjoy what I consider a gourmet meal." These are not anonymous, paid, fake reviews, folks. Only real Food for Patriots customers can review a food kit they purchased. You see how this really is the perfect survival food solution? To get on the road to food independence, just click the orange Choose My Kit button below to claim your kit now. When you choose Food for Patriots, you're choosing to join 106,321 patriots who have decided to take charge and take their survival into their own hands. It's not just our customers' testimonials we're proud of. Recently, Food for Patriots made headlines by giving back to Americans in need. So many patriots are jumping on board with us to make sure their families don't go hungry in a crisis. So many, in fact, that just recently we celebrated getting 13 million meals into the hands of American families who want to be prepared. Wow. As you can see, we're no fly-by-night operation. No, sir. Once you become a Food for Patriots customer, you become part of our family, and we'll make sure you're treated right. Our friendly customer service team is standing by to help you anytime, ready to help answer all your questions about our amazing survival food. Here's a recent snapshot we took so you can see we're real people, Americans, not some 800 number being routed over to some foreign basement call center in India or the Philippines, forced to talk with someone named Bob with an accent you can barely understand. With us, you'll only be dealing with Josh, Bonnie, Ray, Lisa, and other tried and true American patriots just like you. And at this point, I know you're probably champing at the bit to get your hands on this food. But just to make this a complete no-brainer for you, I'm also offering 4 incredible free bonuses if you act now. Free bonus number 1, top 10 items sold out after a crisis. In this report, you'll learn the 10 items you absolutely need to hoard. If you miss this, you'll be forced to go without them in a crisis. You'll also learn how to snag them on the cheap, sort them securely, and pump out every ounce of nutrition they have to offer. Free bonus number 2, the Water Survival Guide. Look, without clean water, you can't prepare a scrap of food. You got to have this to complete your stockpile. Not to mention the fact dehydration can hit in as little as 7 hours and turn a full-grown man into a whimpering child. This down and dirty guide will show you desperate times-only water sources to keep your family from going thirsty. It'll also walk you through the basics of water storage, how to find a source, and tricks to easily grab water in an emergency. Free bonus number 3, the Survival Garden Guide. A long-term food stockpile works best when you can add in some succulent and well-preserved fruits and veggies. In this guide, you get the lowdown on outdoor gardens, indoor gardens, freezing, and long-term storage. This is like food insurance, so your family can eat fresh-picked produce or delicious home-canned delicacies, even in a disaster. Free bonus number 4, how to cut your grocery bills in half. It's sad to see how much most Americans are forced to spend every time they go to the grocery store. Odds are you've seen an increase in spending too. Well, it doesn't have to be like that. To help out, I'm going to show you my down and dirty tricks to getting the best deal, and this goes a lot further than clipping coupons. And when you click the Choose My Kit button below, you'll see a couple of special deals I just added, so you can get an even longer-term supply of survival food for as little as $1.11 per serving. This is what I personally recommend for the ultimate in food security, plus some extra special bonus gifts that aren't available to everyone. It's not cheap to put together survival food of this quality, but I want anyone to be able to afford to have food independence and be protected from the coming crisis. And just to show you how serious I am, I'm offering an outrageous double guarantee. Guarantee number 1 is a 100% money-back guarantee, no questions asked. If, for any reason, you're not satisfied with your Food for Patriots kit, just return it within 60 days of purchase, and I'll refund 100% of your purchase price. If you try it and decide it's not as delicious and nutritious as I promised, you can have your money back for any reason, or no reason whatsoever. That way, there's absolutely no risk for you. Guarantee number 2 is an unheard of 300% money-back guarantee. If you open your Food for Patriots meal any time in the next 25 years and find your food is spoiled or gone bad, you can return your entire Food for Patriots stockpile and I will triple your money back. Does that sound fair to you? That's how confident I am that this food will remain just as delicious and nutritious for the next 25 years as it is on the day you buy it. Now, it may sound crazy to offer this double guarantee, but to be honest, I'm not really worried about it, and here's why. I'm so confident you're going to see the value in your Food for Patriots kit as soon as you have it in your hands. You'll want to keep it and enjoy every bite of the delicious food. But whether you choose to start dipping into your Food for Patriots stockpile right away to stretch your food dollars, or you decide to keep it under lock and key so you're ready for any kind of crisis, you need to know one thing. By claiming your Food for Patriots kit, you made the decision not just to get food to feed your family in a disaster, you made the decision to get peace of mind. Food for Patriots customer Jan was thrilled with the shelf life and the discreet, compact packaging, too. Here's exactly what she said. The life expectancy of your product is what attracted me. Now that my first order has arrived, I like the fact that the package, once I move the label to the inside of the lid, doesn't scream food storage to unwelcome, prying eyes. Can you picture how good it's going to feel to have this security and independence? Heck, if you've got an elderly friend or family member nearby, you can get a kit for them so you don't have to worry if they're eating or not in a disaster. Now, last reminder. Don't worry, there's no pressure to claim your Food for Patriots kit. In fact, if you don't want it, just step aside. No hard feelings. There are plenty of other people who are dead set on preparing right now, and they see that with all this uncertainty and warning signs we're seeing on a daily basis, time is running out. But if you're serious about your family stockpile and want to get real food independence and security, click on the orange Choose My Kit button you see below this video, you'll be glad that you did. This is about peace of mind, knowing that you and your family are well protected in the case of food shortages and natural disasters. Sounds good, right? Click on the button below and get your Food for Patriots stockpile rushed to you before they're all gone. And then rest assured knowing that you will be able to feed your family well into the future no matter what happens. Don't you deserve this? To get your Food for Patriots kit rushed to you at this special price, plus the 4 free bonus reports, click the big orange Choose My Kit button below this video. If you decide to claim your package, though, there's something you should know about. It's a danger I call 25-year stockpile greed. When a food crisis strikes, there are really 2 groups of people, the people who prepared and the people who didn't. If you've watched this video so far, my guess is you're someone who's going to prepare. But let me warn you, the rest of the world may very well be greedy for your stockpile, especially now that we know that FEMA wants to hoard these meals too. It's easy to imagine if they run out of food for their children, they'll be willing to take anyone's food to get them fed. And unless you have a covert stockpile, your name could very well make it on that list. To keep your Food for Patriots order under the radar, we ship it in normal, unmarked packaging. There are no flashy logos, advertisements, or emblems on the outside. Not even the postman will know what you're getting. Click the Choose My Kit button below this video to get started. Don't leave empty-handed. You can get a kit with 3 square meals a day for as little as $1.11 per serving. Are you ready to get started? Claim your Food for Patriots package now. Click the big orange Choose My Kit button below. You can get your Food for Patriots kit in just a moment, but first I want you to really picture this in your mind. It's 9:07 a.m. and the you-know-what has just hit the fan. People are panicking. It's all over the radio and TV. A news anchor comes on the TV screen and in a shaky voice says, "We are in a state of emergency. I repeat, we are now in a state of emergency." The 47 million freeloaders spoon-fed by big government are marching in the streets. There are rumors of looting. In fact, there's a mob at your local grocery store. Like a swarm of locusts, the mob completely cleans out the grocery store in less than 2 hours, leaving the shelves completely bare. Panic is spreading, and it's quickly becoming every man for himself. You're safe at home with your family, thank goodness. But now your family's looking at you. What's going to happen, they ask. And then your spouse pulls you close and whispers in your ear, "What are we going to eat?" Act now, and you'll never have to worry about how you're going to answer that question. Your food stockpile will be a source of comfort and strength in the storm. Your family will think you're a hero, because you will be a hero. Can't you just picture how that will feel? Look, I can't make any plainer than this. You're at a crossroads. You can either take action now and be able to feed your family in a crisis, or you can be one of the hordes of helpless idiots clamoring for a crust of bread when everything collapses. One thing is clear, you've got to make a choice. Be sure to make the right one. Click the button below. You'll be glad you did. Remember, this is delicious food, good for 25 years of storage, so even if I'm wrong and everything turns out fine, then you'll still come out ahead with your food stockpile, because if you don't need it, just eat it. Claim your Food for Patriots package now. Click the Choose My Kit button below now. Still here? Well, let me answer some common questions I get about Food for Patriots.
Where can I go to get other customers' real opinions on Food for Patriots products?
We host a website where hundreds of our customers have left honest reviews about their purchases for you to see at www.foodforpatriotsreview.com. These aren't paid reviews, folks. You can only leave a review if we've verified that you're a customer.
Is it safe to buy online?
Buying online is absolutely one of the safest ways to shop. SSL certificates authenticate our identity and encrypt the information visitors enter on our site. This keeps thieves from overhearing any exchange between our web page and another computer. When an SSL certificate is installed, you can rest assured that the information you send is secured and can't be viewed by cyber crooks. You can also give us a call directly at 1-800-728-0008 and talk to our customer service team. We'll leave the number up on the screen for you.
What is the calorie count per day?
Our kits are based around servings. Instead of laying out meal plans for people, we allow you to consume as much or as little of the product on a daily basis that meets your individual needs. The time frames, 72 hours, 4 weeks, 3 months, etc., is just a standard guideline, and the food may last you a longer or a shorter period of time depending on your consumption and what other foods you may be supplementing into your daily diet from the regular pantry. Because our food doesn't contain unnecessary fillers or high sugar content, the calorie counts are inherently less than you'll find in most store-bought food. The difference is that you are enjoying wholesome ingredients that your body recognizes and processes as real food, not chemical junk. And just in case you're still not convinced, check out some of the most recent testimonials that just came in. Here's Heron relaying a new sense of security since he got his Food for Patriots kits. I now feel very secure in the event of an emergency that might cut off food distribution channels, also in the event that our economy crashes, not if, but when. And here's Phil and Sharon, who are thrilled with Food for Patriots' superb taste, who know firsthand how gross military food rations like MREs can be. They told me, cooked it up and it was awesome. Yahoo! I'm not in trouble after all. She was very impressed, to say the least. And check out what former firefighter Kenneth from Georgia has to say about being prepared and making Food for Patriots part of his strategy to be ready. I know that with my Food for Patriots kit and firearms and plenty of ammo, I can at least protect us for a while. I wish everyone would get ready for what is coming soon. So there you go. It's really that easy to get started. Plus, you have my famous double guarantee you can rely on, so you know you can count on me. Just click the button now to choose your kit, and I'll see you on the other side in less than a minute. Hurry and do it now. This could be your last chance. Once we run out of stock, there is no guarantee if or when we can make more. Click the Choose My Kit button below now.